What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, we got some MMA to talk. We got some beer to drink. The beer we're sipping on today, going back to our roots, trying some IPAs. It's big, juicy beer hug, baby. Look at that beer on that can. I don't know, IPAs have tasted like shit to me lately, but we're throwing it back. This is going to be not a pick'em because we got a week off of UFC. That's why I hadn't been putting out episodes either. I've just been busy as shit, and I feel bad about that. I keep getting overwhelmed, and then I feel like I'm behind the ball, and then when I'm ready to put an episode out, I'm like, it's been too long. Everybody's heard about it, knows about it, been there, done that. So we're back. I don't give a fuck about that shit. And today we're talking UFC. We're recapping this last weekend's fight night, PFL's playoff, the final playoff card they had. Then we're going to be looking at UFC Noche and the fight night coming up next weekend, not tomorrow night, but next weekend. And then we'll be playing some matchmaker as well as going over other things happening in the MMA landscape, MMA news. Let's try this beer out first, baby. See what it is, see what it's about. Oh man, that's fucking good. Tastes like it's full of sunshine and tropical sweetness. That's what it says on the can. But it's pretty fucking good. 10% on that motherfucker. Better slow her down though. Alright, we'll just kick things off for you. UFC Fight Night, bro. Hayo versus Jared Cannonier. It was a fun card for being an Apex card, for not being a big names anywhere other than Cannonier. Night kicked off with Wang Tong. Girl's a beast kickboxer, 5-0 coming into this fight. She took on Victoria Leonardo, knocks her out in a minute, just out cold, fucking vicious. This girl comes to the octagon, or comes to the face-offs, got the Joker face paint on. Fucking huge for 125. She looks 6 inches taller than the girl out there, and just fucking decimates her. Nasty power, and goodness. Good fuckingness. And this girl, Wang Kong, she beat Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing. And that was when Valentina was beating fucking everybody in kickboxing. Do we have a female version of Pereira versus Adesanya? We might, if Valentina can get the belt back from Grasso at... God, I got the fucking burps. If Valentina can get the belt back from Grasso at UFC Noche. But yeah, she's a beast. 6-0 now. That was her first UFC fight. Going to step up in competition, but I see them giving her a fast track to the title because there's just not a lot going on at 125 right now. It's kind of at a logjam. And then Vyacheslav Borishev, Slava Claus, he went out, had an absolute war with UFC debutant James Longtop, and these guys were just destroying each other's legs, just pepper in the face. It was a fun fight, back and forth on the feet all the way. So split decision win for Vyacheslav Borishev. That was a fun fucking fight. Good to see him get a win. He's one of the most entertaining guys to have on a card where you're never looking for this guy's fights. He might not be on any main cards ever, but you see his fight on there and you're like, oh, that's going to be a fun one because that dude can scrap. All right, and then on the main card, Edmund Shabazian took on Gerald Meerschaert, beating the shit out of him for 2.5 rounds. He's got him hurt in the first, got him hurt in the second. It looked like he dropped him with a body shot at one point, and then third round, they go to the ground. Meerschaert gets on top, sinks in the head and arm triangle for comeback of the year after getting the shit kicked out of him for the most of the entire fight. So now Gerald Meerschaert, he's got the most finishes in UFC middleweight history, which is just fucking nuts when you think of guys like Adesanya, like Robert Whittaker, like Anderson fucking Silva, and the deadliest guy in that division of all time is Gerald Meerschaert. That's fucking great. Alright, and then we also had the Ultimate Fighter finale was on this card. Two weight classes were going at it. First up, we had the featherweights. Marion Santos took on Con Offley, and Santos is a fucking beast. Dude's well-rounded. He's got good takedown defense. He's got really powerful striking, smart striking. He's got a good fight IQ, not ring IQ. It's a octagon, but yeah, man, this guy goes out there. Round 1, getting his feelers out. He definitely wins the first round. Round 2, he just fucking starches the dude. It was a counter hook. They went into the pocket and both started trading. Misses the first one, second one. Puts him to fucking sleep. And then a couple shots on top of that because the ref couldn't get there in time. But the guy was on his knees already passed out, just was being held up by these punches that Santos was throwing. Dude's only 24 years old. He's going to be a real prospect at 145. I can't wait to see what comes next for him. We'll talk about him in the matchmaker portion of the episode a little bit later. And then in the other Ultimate Fighter finale for the middleweights, we had Ryan Loder taking on Robert Valentin. And Loder gets a second round TKO as well from the mounted crucifix by dropping heavy elbows on Valentin. Valentin had his moments. He took the back a few times, but Loder's such a good wrestler, has such good ground game. He let him take the back just so he could slide him off, get on top, and implement his strategy. Loder gets the win. He's 32. I don't see him going a lot of places in the UFC just because of that age, and he is kind of limited in his skill set with the wrestling heavy approach, but that can cause a lot of guys problems. He can go. I think he could probably get to fringe top 15, top 10 max. That's what I'd say his ceiling is, but I don't see this guy ever being top 5 or title contention, nothing like that. But hey, good win. American wins the Ultimate Fighter. Great to see, because this was the most international card international show they've ever had. They had guys from all over the country or all over the world. American wins it. You love to see it. USA, baby. UFC, they really need to fix what they got going on with the Ultimate Fighter. Nobody's watching it anymore because it's not like how it used to be. I hear people say they haven't changed anything, and that's why no one watches it. It's stale. Well, they haven't changed anything, but fighters have changed. People are not as intense. You don't have the dirtballs fighting anymore. You got all these professionals. The guys that get on the Ultimate Fighter are so focused, and they're not partying, they're not fighting in the house, and it's just not good TV. What you need to do is get 21 to 27 year olds in there, some fucking alcoholics, some trash balls, good fighters, but they just don't have their head on straight, and have a season like that, like how it was for the first fucking 10, 15 seasons. That would be great. And, one weight class, big tournament. I can't see a downside from that. Young guys, Ultimate Fighter, tons of booze in the house, fights all the time. You know it's going to happen. Just let it happen. Great television. I know there's liabilities. I know you want to look good, you want to look professional, but these guys aren't your fucking guys, so you can let them look like assholes on TV, and you guys still look good. So that's my idea on how to fix the Ultimate Fighter, is get some fucking sleazeballs on there, get them drinking, get them partying, and we'll have a good time. We'll have good TV. Fights at the end of the show, fights at the beginning of the show when they're in the house, fights in training camp, dudes showing up hungover. I loved all that shit growing up watching the Ultimate Fighter, and I'd love to see it come back. But moving on, Tabitha Ricci, she got a unanimous decision win over Angela Hill. It was a close fight, 29-28, I think, across the boards, but fun fight. Ricci just had better gas, which is surprising because normally it's Hill pushing the pace. Not a lot happened in it, not a lot to talk about, really. Ricci looking good, moving up the rankings. And then in the main event, we had Caio Borralho taking on Jared Cannonier. He defeats him by unanimous decision. He looked great. Used his jab a ton in this. Really popped it. Kept him at range. Did his thing. And then he hurt Cannonier several times. He showed off a chin. He got hurt. He kept going. Not a lot to say. Cannonier's aging. I heard a lot of people say what a great fight it was, what a great showing it was from Borralho, and it was, but it wasn't that entertaining to watch for me. It was just kind of like, it was interesting watching the guy's skills play out. I'll say that. But yeah, these fighting nerds, dude. Caio Borralho, he's the leader of the fighting nerds. They're fucking nasty. I think they're undefeated this year. They got Jean Silva knocking out Drew Dober, knocking out fucking Charles Air Jourdain. You got Carlos Praetos knocking out the Leech. I mean, these guys, dude, these fighting nerds are fucking nasty. They're fucking filthy. I don't know. They're going to be champs soon. I don't know about Praetos because he's older, but they're all fucking nasty, and they all have different styles too. You got some sluggers, you got some methodical boxers, you got some people that are just all around MMA guys like Caio Borralho. I love it. I love to see it. But that's what we got for the UFC coverage. Now we're going to be moving on to a failing organization known as the PFL. And failing because they just cannot fucking get it together. They announced some good fights. We'll talk about it in a sec. But what the fuck is Don Davis doing? Get your shit together, dude. Production, ass. Advertising for these fights, letting people know about it, ass. Social media presence, ass. It's just, dude, You got to do better. You got to do better. I'm going to do a show one day of all the things wrong with PFL and how I'd fix it. I know I'm no CEO, no exec, but I've got some fucking ideas. I'll make a show on that someday. But anyways, PFL. So we had the welterweight division, worst division in their playoffs, I think. They had their semifinals. You had Magomed Umulatov defeated Naaman Gracie by unanimous decision. It was a fight. I mean, not a great one, but it was a fight. And then Shamil Musayev defeats Murad Ramazanov by unanimous decision, and he did it. He just did the same exact thing, except knocked the guy out 3 or 4 weeks ago in their last fight. So another problem with PFL is so many fucking rematches have been happening, it seems like. But yeah, so the finals for that, Magomed Umulatov taking on Shamil Musayev. Should be a good fight. 2 Russians going at it. I don't know. Terrible fucking weight class. So boring. So wrestling heavy. And the strikers are just like pitter-patter point strikers. So I'm not looking forward to that finale. But a fun weight class that they have is the featherweight division. Brendan Loughnane, he took on Kai Kamaka, and it was a fun fight. Loughnane gets it by split decision. They were both just fucking shredding each other's legs. Kamaka throws heavy kicks, dude, and I didn't think he was going to be able to stand with Loughnane, but he was. One judge gave it to Kamaka. I had it Loughnane pretty clearly, but yeah, he gets it done, beats Kai Kamaka, and then Tamil Kraziv, he took on last year's PFL finalist Gabriel Braga, defeats him by unanimous decision. Good wrestling, good striking. This dude's a well-rounded Dagestani. It's all right when you got one of them in there, but when the welterweight division where fucking everybody is a Dagestani wrestler, just boring. So Kraziv defeats Braga by unanimous decision. So in the split decision actually, but that judge that called it a split, dumb. Anyways. Finals, Brendan Loughnane versus Tamil Kraziv. I think Kraziv's getting that one pretty easy, to be honest. Loughnane's takedown defense is not as good as Braga's, and Kraziv was taking down Braga pretty easily, so I think it's going to be a pretty boring fight. But if it's not, Loughnane's got heavy hands, dude, can knock you out at any time in the fight. He could make it a fun one. We'll just have to see. And he's got a couple months to drill the takedown defense. Maybe he'll get better. I don't know. So the rest of the bracket, though, the rest of the finals that we got Oleg Popov taking on Denis Goltsov in the heavyweight finale. Light heavyweight, their best division, hands down. Impa Kasaganai taking on Dolitsan Yagshimeredov. And that's going to be a fun fucking fight. Yagshimeredov sounds like a wrestler, sounds like this dude loves to strike. Impa loves to strike. These guys can bang, and both of them are undersized for 205, so they're going to come in with just crazy gas tanks, throwing balls to the wall. It's going to be a fun fucking fight. And then, as I said, Shamil Musayev versus Magomed Umulatov at 170. Brent Primus taking on Gadzi Rabadanov at 155. Brendan Loughnane versus Tamil Kraziv at 145. And then the women's flyweights, we got Talia Santos taking on Dakota Dicheva, PFL Europe winner. So that should be a decent card when it comes out. I hate that it's pay-per-view. A lot of things wrong with PFL. I hate that it's pay-per-view. Hate it because nobody fucking watches your shit, and nobody's going to pay $50 to watch that card. Francis, maybe if you get him a good opponent, but what are we doing, dude? You guys need to get your exposure out there, put your PFL championships on for free, make it on ESPN on a Friday night. Huge fucking deal when there's no good football games on. Just fucking everything at it. Be like, this is the toughest competition in sports. These guys have been going at it all fucking year for $1 million tonight, and you don't have to pay for it. $50 to watch people you never heard of, because 90% of UFC or 90% of MMA fans, they haven't heard of anybody on the fucking PFL roster other than the UFC dropouts, the UFC washouts, retirees that just go there for the buck, like the Brunsons, the fucking Thiago Santos, the Shane Burgos. So I don't know. Figure your shit out, PFL, because nobody wants to tune into a season when they know they're not going to be able to watch the last fight because they'd have to pay $50 for it. Much more likely that you're going to get people slowly tuning in and be like, oh wow, I love this. And the end of the year, it's free. The championship's free. I'm not paying fucking $50 for Stream East, baby. Stream East. All right, and then other PFL news, something they did do that was good. Renan Ferreira, his next fight's announced against Francis Ngannou. You ever heard of the guy, Francis Ngannou, the Predator? Former UFC champ, never lost the belt, just vacated because he left the company. Dude's a badass. Probably beat Tyson Fury in their last fight. I don't know. Dude's a beast. He's coming off a heavy knockout from Anthony Joshua, though, and some really hard times in his life. His son passed away earlier this year, and that's horrible. But that's going to be a good fight. Ferreira and Ngannou, both of them swing wild. They both tend to put their chin out as they're loading up for their shots, which I love because someone's getting knocked out. And they both got crazy power. Ferreira, he's pretty good at jiu-jitsu too, from what I remember. I could be wrong, but coming off of a first-round knockout of Ryan Bader, looking to put a stamp on it against Ngannou, beat two heavyweight champs of two different divisions. And then they also announced Paul Hughes is going to be taking on AJ McKee. That's going to be a fucking amazing fight. That's going to probably be on the undercard of the October 19th fight of Francis Ngannou versus Renan Ferreira. And I don't know what to expect from that. Paul Hughes, that's the next big thing they think. He's coming up from Cage Warriors. He's had one Bellator fight already. And AJ McKee, former 145 champ, moved up to 155. He's still doing his thing, not losing shit. He lost a questionable split to Patricio Pitbull years ago in their rematch, but that's going to be a fun fight. Great test for both guys. It's a win-win there because if AJ McKee wins, he's your poster boy for 155. Put him in the fucking tournament and get him some fucking money, get some attraction there. And if Paul Hughes wins, same thing. He beat AJ McKee. He beat the former king, the guy that's still young, still doing his thing. And he's just, there's a lot to do there. But you need to get these guys in the tournament. You need to make the tournament bigger. Or you need to do something. I don't know. Like I said, I'll make an episode where I air out all my grievances with the PFL and the issues I have with that because it just bugs the shit out of me. It's such a cool idea. A season, a playoff, a championship in MMA. Such a cool idea. How do you fuck it up? You don't advertise. You don't promote. You have terrible production. You have dumbass ideas. You're signing people that you're never going to put in your season for $500,000 a fight, $1 million a fight, and they're going to fight once a year on your pay-per-view card. Are you fucking kidding me? Nobody's buying a pay-per-view for Shane Burgos, for Thiago Santos, for Derek Brunson. What are we doing? I don't know. They need to get their shit together. All right. Moving on. Done shitting on the PFL for right now. I'll shit on them more later. UFC Fight Night. Sean Brady taking on Gilbert Darino Burns. Card is stacked for a fight night, to be honest. I can't wait for this one. We'll just go over it a little bit because we're going to do a pick'em next week on this, and we're going to make you some fucking money. We went out on a loss before the hiatus, but I've been making money in the meantime. I wish I would have posted the episodes. I wish I would have done more because I was just getting anxious. I was like, man, I'm not. No reason, just getting in my own fucking head. This card, though. Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady, both beast grapplers. Gilbert Burns, ADCC champion, gold medalist. Dude's a beast in jiu-jitsu. And Sean Brady, his wrestling's fucking nuts. Dude's got a back like a turtle shell. And his jiu-jitsu, he's a black belt also. He's a beast. Both can strike too. I think it's going to be a striking fight. It's going to be fun as shit. And then we have Steve Garcia taking on Kyle Nelson. That's going to be a barn burner. Both guys are just going to Max Holloway, go out there, throw like that, and fucking beat the shit out of each other. Goodness gracious. Then we have Matt Schnell. Might not know who he is. I do. Fun fighter taking on Alessandro Costa. Big underdog for Schnell. Costa's a finisher, man. It's going to be a fun fight. You got Trevor Peek making his return. He's taking on Yanel Ashmuz. I like Trevor Peek in that. The dude throws these weird fucking clubbing shots that just hurts people. He'll boom, like a hammer fist from a standing position. It's bizarre. He's got such a bizarre style. He's tough as shit. And then buried on the prelims, we got Ryan Superman Spann taking on Ovince St. Preux. And this fight is going to be fun as shit. We might see the return of the Von Flue choke. I don't know. Ryan Spann, he's the guillotine guy. He's got a great guillotine. And OSP, he lets people put him in a guillotine because it gives him that Von Flue choke where he's in the guillotine and he just drops his shoulder on your neck, gets his hands behind you, and chokes you out. It's a crazy move. That's his signature. Span's signature is the guillotine. Span's a huge favorite in this, but that Von Flue choke is always going to be there. But I don't know if OSP is going to be able to handle the power of Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann hits hard as fuck. Both guys are a little chinny, might be a little over the hill, but that's going to be a fun fucking card. There's a ton of other fun matchups, but like I said, we're doing it. Goodness, my nose is clogged. We're doing it. Pick 'em on the next week, and we'll make you some fucking money on there. And then UFC Noches the following weekend. Can't wait for that. That's going to be fucking wild. So you got Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean, taking on Merab Dvalishvili. Going to get a knockout there. Alexa versus Valentina 3. Can't wait for that one. Mexican Independence Day. Then you get to see Diego Lopez taking on Brian Ortega. We've been waiting for that one. That's going to be a fun litmus test for both guys. And then also on the card, you get to see Ignacio Bahamondes. You get to see... I can't think of it right now, but the card is stacked with Mexican fighters. I know Bahamondes isn't Mexican, but it's stacked with Mexican fighters. And Dana White said that the entire card is going to be telling a story on the Sphere big screen from the beginning of fighting for Mexican fighting all the way to the future of fighting, and it's going to be just the craziest production. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. It's going to be fucking great. That's all I got to say for it right now, because we're going to do a pick 'em for that when it comes around also. We'll break it down, get you some money on that one also. Now though, we're going to be playing matchmaker. I got some matches I want to see. Let me know in the comments what matches you want to see, or who you want to see fight, why, what you think about my picks. Just let me know. Drop it in the comments. First match I want to see though, Caio Borralho versus Marvin Vettori. That's a good fight for him. He's calling out DDP after his fight, but DDP's probably fighting Strickland next, and Caio needs one more win. I think Vettori's a great warm-up for that. If you can get past Vettori, kind of the similar style with the bull forward Ox. He's more technical, not as powerful as Dricus, but he's still a tough fucking dude. And it, like I said, good litmus test, gets you an idea of where you stand there in the division. So... Caio Borralho versus Marvin Vettori. Also be fun to see Borralho versus Izzy, but I don't know what Izzy's doing, and I'm not trying to make matches that don't make sense. So next up, we got Kamaru Usman. He's pissed off about being called out by all these young up-and-comers, saying he's over the hill, all these fans saying he's over the hill. So what do? We need to put him up against Jack Della Maddalena, because Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's got the next title shot, I think. JDM versus Kamaru, that's a number one contender fight. Kamaru gets past JDM, he could fight Bilal for the title. JDM can show that he beats Kamaru. That's two huge wrestlers that he beat in a row with Gilbert and Kamaru. He's fighting for the title next. Win-win for the UFC. At 155, I want to see Dan the Hangman Hooker take on Justin Gaethje in a CTE fest. I mean, how could you not love that kind of a fight? Both dudes go out there, let themselves get hit in the face over and over again just to throw fucking punches back. That's going to be awesome. They probably won't do it, but because they know that someone's going to die, they both just take too much damage. They're both fucking warriors, but what a fight that would be. The bloodbath that would be amazing. All right, and then at 170 again, I want to see Leon Edwards go out against Colby Covington. Loser probably retires. I know Leon's not over the hill, but he's not getting the title back. The dude's got no intensity. And Colby, he beat the shit out of him in the last fight. Not beat the shit, but definitely won. This would be a good one just to be like, hey, my foot was broken. Let me show you what I can do. They don't fucking like each other. Or... you lose, you're out, Colby, retire, go do your Trump thing, go do your fucking trolling, or go make some money elsewhere playing poker. And if Colby isn't ready for that fight, another fight that would be awesome for Leon, Ian Gary, title fight, another number one contender fight. If Leon can beat Ian, right back in the title picture. If Ian beats Leon, there's nowhere to go but the title. So can't lose with either of those matchups. Then you got Rafael Fiziev. He's coming in off 2 losses. Injury in his last one to Matsu Gamera. Got beat by Gaethje in a decision. I want to see him take on Grant Dawson, who's had a bit of a rough streak here. He got knocked out by King Green and then came back and dominated Joe Solecki. But give Fiziev a little bit of a warm-up, and if Grant Dawson can beat Fiziev, then he moves up. He's, that American wrestler that you put into that title picture, that top 5, but one of them's got to go. That'd be a fun fight. I know they're pretty far from each other in the rankings, but I'd love to see that fight. And then finally, last fight for the matchmaker portion of this, we got Marion Santos, the former, well, not former because it just happened, the tough winner, the ultimate fighter, Marion Santos. I want to see him take on Jack Shore. Great matchup. Jack Shore's got great wrestling. He's a good MMA fighter in general, just very well-rounded, as is Santos. And it's another litmus test for both guys. Shore shows you where you're at because Shore's shown to be dominant in the UFC, but he can be beat. And Marion Santos, he hasn't had to fight a lot of heavy wrestlers. He's fought jiu-jitsu guys, but not a lot of heavy wrestlers. Not a lot of guys that are going to push the pace like Jack Shore. So that would be an awesome fight. Santos wins, you give him a top 15 next. Jack Shore, he's put in the work. If he wins, give him a top 15 next. Build these guys up fast because this dude is the future. If he can keep doing what I've seen him do, this dude's the future with Marion Santos. I like this dude a lot. He's got some power. He's got some fucking speed. He's got a good fight IQ. I love it. All right. And then MMA news. Let me see if anything's going on real quick that I care about. No, nothing too intense. So that's all we got for you today. Thanks for tuning into this episode. I know it's a long one. We're just shooting the shit. We're talking about everything going on around the UFC landscape and the PFL. Like I said, I'll make an episode eventually where I air out all my grievances with the company and we figure out how to fix it. We're going to forward it to Don Davis. He's going to give me his job, put me in charge of the PFL, and we're going to make PFL great again. Make it World Series of Fight. No. But we do want to fucking fix that promotion. What's going on, dude? It's like someone's just, fucking throw that on there. What are we doing? You got to care about the company. You got to care about the product you're putting out, guys. Anyways, that's all I got for you. I'm Matt with Blood and Beer. Thanks for tuning in. Leave your comments on the matches you want to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow, whatever it is. And I appreciate you tuning in. Till next time.